Silence makes people uncomfortable before it makes them curious, .br, and it makes them curious before it makes them panic. That panic is not loud, it happens inside. The moment you stop explaining yourself, something shifts. Bar, they don't feel peace. They feel uncertainty. But uncertainty is where control starts to slip. Most people believe power comes from words, .er from proving, from defending .br, from reacting fast, .dr. That belief is why they lose. Silence removes the emotional handrails people depend on. When you don't speak, they can't predict you. When they can't predict you, they can't control the situation. This is why silence feels threatening, .dr, not because it is aggressive, .br, but because it refuses to reassure. Think about a moment when someone expected a reaction from you. Bar an apology, .br an explanation, .dr anything. And you gave them nothing, .br no argument, .br no defense, .br no emotional confirmation, .br. What happened next was not calm, but .br, it was tension. The human mind hates open loops, .br. When there is no response, the brain fills the gap, .br, usually with fear. They begin to wonder if they misjudged you, .br, if they pushed too far. If you're planning something, .tr, if you no longer care. Silence removes certainty, .br. Certainty is comfort, .comfort is control. When you speak too much, you give people a map. When you stay silent, they are forced to wander, .bar. This is where the chase begins. .bar, they start watching your behavior closely. Your timing, .br, your tone, but your absence. They replay conversations, bar, they analyze messages. They read between lines that aren't there. Bar, you didn't say anything, .br, but they hear everything. Silence shifts effort. You stop working. They start. Bar. This is not manipulation, .er, this is psychology, .br. People chase clarity. When you deny it, they chase you, .bbr. In relationships, this is when someone texts again, .er, then again, then sends something casual that isn't casual at all. .bbr. In work, this is when someone over-explains their decision to you. They weren't asked, .br. They just feel exposed. .br. In conflict, this is when someone raises their voice, .br, not because they are strong, but because they are losing ground. .br. Silence does not attack, .bar, it waits. .br. Waiting is unbearable to someone who needs control. At first, they try to regain balance, .br, they joke, .bar, they act normal, .br, they pretend nothing is wrong, .br, but silence keeps standing there, unmoved, .br. Then the panic begins. Panic is not screaming, .br, panic is urgency, .er, they need resolution, .br, they need certainty, they need reassurance that they still have influence, .er. This is when they chase harder, .br, they ask indirect questions, they test emotional boundaries, .br, they provoke reactions. Anything to confirm they still matter. Your silence forces them to confront something dangerous, bar they might not. That thought shakes people. When someone realizes they are no longer the center of the emotional universe, fear appears. .br, fear creates mistakes. They reveal impatience, .bar, neediness, .br, insecurity. This is how silence exposes weakness, .br, not because you attacked, but because you didn't rescue them from uncertainty. But power has always belonged to the person who needs less. Silence signals independence, emotional self-sufficiency. It says without words, I am not dependent on this outcome. That message terrifies people who rely on control. Now something interesting happens. The power dynamic flips. The person who once felt confident starts adjusting themselves around you. They soften their tone. They become cautious. They hesitate. They are now responding to you. Silence doesn't push, bar it pulls. The more disciplined your silence, the louder it becomes. But this only works if the silence is clean. Bar clean silence is calm. It is not sulking. Dr. It is not passive aggression. Bar it is not withdrawal with resentment. Those leak emotion. Bar emotion gives clues. Clues restore control. Br true silence gives nothing. Bar no emotional tells. Br no over explanations. Br no urgency. Just presence without permission. Br this is why silence must come from strength. Br not fear. Bar if silence is used to punish, it fails. If silence is used to hide, it collapses. Br but when silence is used because you genuinely don't need to speak, it dominates. Stoic thinkers understood this without announcing it. They didn't rush to correct every misunderstanding. They didn't argue with noise. They understood that self-mastery is louder than self-defense. Silence shows you are governed internally. Br not pulled by every external stimulus. Bar that independence is rare. Br rarity creates value. People don't chase what reacts easily. Br they chase what remains composed. This is why silence attracts attention without effort. But attention is only the first phase. Next comes loss of power. When someone is chasing clarity, they are no longer directing the interaction. They are responding. Responsiveness feels active. But psychologically, it is submission. The person waiting controls the pace. Pace is power. Silence slows the interaction. The slower the pace, the more pressure builds on the other side. Pressure causes leaks. They say too much. They show frustration. They reveal intentions early. Meanwhile, you stay still. Stillness amplifies imbalance. At some point they realize they have lost leverage. They are invested. You are not. Investment creates vulnerability. This is when control disappears. They may lash out. They may accuse you of being distant. Cold. Unfair. Those accusations are confessions. They are not upset about silence. They are upset about loss of influence. People rarely admit they want control. They call it concern. Or honesty. Or communication. But beneath those words is fear of unpredictability. Silence creates unpredictability. Unpredictability removes dominance. This dynamic appears everywhere. A manager who stops over-justifying decisions suddenly gains authority. A partner who stops over-explaining becomes desired again. A person who doesn't rush to reply becomes memorable. Because silence implies options. Options equal power. If you are silent, people assume you have alternatives. Other prior. Ities. Other doors. Even if you don't, perception becomes reality. This is why silence must be paired with discipline. If you break silence emotionally, you lose the effect. If you explain too soon, you reset the dynamic. Silence works because it forces the other person to carry emotional weight alone. Most people cannot tolerate that for long. They chase relief. And relief comes from submission. They compromise. They soften demands. They reveal true motives. You didn't force this. They volunteered it. This is the danger of silence. It exposes truth faster than confrontation. Confrontation gives people a chance to prepare defenses. Silence gives them nothing to push against. So they collapse inward. However, this power is not meant to be abused. Silence without ethics becomes cruelty. Silence without awareness becomes arrogance. Stoic strength is quiet, not cruel. The goal is not to dominate people, the goal is to master yourself. Silence is proof of that mastery. When you don't react, you choose your responses. When you choose your responses, you control outcomes. But remember this. Silence reveals character on both sides. Some people will respect it. Some will fear it. Some will resent it. The ones who panic are the ones who depended on control. The ones who chase are the ones who depended on certainty. The ones who lose power are the ones who never had it internally. Use silence sparingly, use it intentionally. And never confuse it with weakness. Because the most dangerous person in any room is the one who can stay silent while everyone else is losing control.